and you found out it wasn't really what it was supposed to be.
It was all a great big lie. And when I found that out, I was like, yo, I gotta rearrange some stuff. I gotta get down to the core of who I really am. Just sitting there being a Hebrew was not good enough for a goddess like myself.
Right.
So I kicked it to the curb. I moved on and accepted myself for who I am, which is a goddess, a black queen.
Now, did you have problems with the teachings of Hebrew Israelites, especially the way the teachings when it comes to women? What do you think about that?
Absolutely, I had a problem with the teachings that these Hebrew Israelites come with, because anytime you want to suppress the divine feminine aspect of God, you're going to have some very serious problems. You cannot downplay the equal half of the masculine side of God. And that's what the Hebrew Israelites, having no metaphysical understanding of who the woman is and what her true role is, which is equality to the divine, to God, the divine masculine. If she cannot be in the place of equal and what her true role is, which is equality, and what her true role is, which is equality.
I want to give all the praises and the honor to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai Bahashim, Recha HaKwadash, and double honors to the elder apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone. Honors as well to the other brethren, you fellow believers of this truth, your affiliates of this truth. Shalom to you, few sisters, supporters of this truth. Shalom to the elect. So Eve strikes again, right? The Queen Eve strikes again, and Sadnetta has got these leading questions to make a video. It's sad. You know, it's really sad that somebody has to leave whatever group they're in and go into this concert or whatever. What are these men wearing? I don't know. He's got the brother Jabari, and I don't know what they're wearing, the Grand Poobah outfits or something, like, you know, like the Flintstones. They had the Lodge of the Water Buffalo or something. I don't know. It looks like some weird stuff, you know, and that's Jake. We always trying to find our way, and you can't get mad at them. You know, look, she got the ankh around her ears and neck or whatever they call that, which is all going back to Christianity, by the way. But she got that around her ear, that big cross with the circle on it. And you know what it is. You know, she fell for another man. The Hebrew man didn't do it for her, so she went to the Grand Poobah man, you know, or the, what do they call them people? Nuwapians or Nepatians? Or, I don't know. No, the Nepatians is in the scriptures, I guess. Anyway, this woman says she's a queen, and nobody can handle her as being a queen in God's other side or whatever. It's sick. But what I am, this is the reason why I'm doing this video. Let me go to 1 Corinthians 11. I'll get to I got like 4 definitions lined up to show you the hypocrisy in that word queen. I mean, most of us know what it means, but I'm going to go even further on down the line, right? 1 Corinthians 11:8. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man. Okay, so somebody like that would not understand this. She don't believe in the Bible, but this is just for edification. But she talks about herself being a queen, right? I wonder how that's working out. And this guy said, Netta, he promotes that queen behavior. He works with the elites. This is why Vocab and him will side. You don't see him popping up, Vocab popping up on this guy and having debates about Brother Jabari and the African Nepunetsu and whatever the hell, the string man, what's his name? Shaka Amos. Well, I think he cut the string now, right? So, you know, you'll never see them do that. But they'll get together to come against Hebrew Israelites. Anyway, this word queen, preeminent female, noble consort of a king, right? This is another definition. Sovereign, woman ruling in her own right. We're going to show you how this contradicts. Queen, female ruler of the state, women. Any man who wants a woman to lead them has got some flame mold tendencies. You got to question, do they go on the other side of the fence, or do they do this to manipulate the women to get extra benefits? All right, let's get that real quick. And we're going to come back to that, and I'm going to show you real quick. 2 Timothy 3:6, it says, for this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women, laden with sins, led away with diverse lusts. So you got even Hebrew Israelites that will adorn the woman, bring them in, try to, change them and turn them, because that's what you're supposed to do anyway. But some men don't have the capabilities of doing that, if you know what I mean. So after a while, what happens is she starts looking around and trying to find another man that she's find attractive. And then she'll mess with the other man. And then we got to understand that if she left the Hebrews and then she with the grand poobahs or whatever the hell they are, I don't know. And then she's going to leave them, I guess the Egyptology. Then she'll go back to the Christian church, right? And then, as the scripture says, she'll open herself up to every arrow, right? Let's go on back down to Queen, right? Queen, ruler state of women, okay? This is the right word for it, right? Queen, the source of queen. And we're going to show you what queen actually means. It says a woman, low-born woman, from the English woman, also female serf, hussy, prostitute, right? A hussy and a prostitute. So with mind control, if you constantly keep calling ourselves like the N word or the B word, or the queen word, you're putting a curse on yourself. And this is what you see. Let me see. Let me see if the hussy comes up. You should know what it say. It all means the same thing. Hussy, a mistress of the household, housewife, deformed, contradiction. A housewife, evidence of shortening to be novel or whatever. Hussy. So basically a mistress of a household, a housewife, deformed, contradiction. It says, any woman, girl, apply to a woman, girl who shows casual, improper behavior and is at lost all but its derogatory sense in the mid 1800s. So it's another word for housewife. So this is what we're going to do. We see queen, which means a female hussy or prostitute, right? A woman, so a harlot. Woman considered without regard to qualities of position, perhaps by contrast to the sense of queen, right? Hence often slightly or abusive term for women, right? So we see here queen, right? Which means a woman. All right. So let's go to, let me go back here. It says queen. It says, see if I can find it. It says mostly a wife, generally marriage, taking of a wife. Okay. So these are all definitions of queen. So now when we look at wife, now we got to know what the wife means, right? The wife means a woman, human female, a female partner in a sanctioned union, right? So it means a female. Yeah, you're still in a union, but there's one as a head. General sense, woman, preserved, midwife. So now we got to understand what woman means. A woman. This is what wife means, a woman, human female, wife, a woman. So now we go on down and say what the word woman means. A female, literally a woman, female servant. So the question is, how can you be a queen at the top of your ranks, running and controlling things, and you're the head, or even equal, but somehow, when you break it all down, which queen means hussy or prostitute, but even in other terminologies, it means wife, which wife means woman. But then when you look up the word woman, it means servant. So how can she be somebody controlling anything, but yet still being a servant? How can she be controlling everything, but yet still a servant? That's very contradictory. So a queen in another terminology means woman. And a woman means what? Female servant. Yeah, that's what it means. So when you go back to wife, because it means wife too, well, then you have a husband. And what does the word husband mean? Male head of household, master of house, right? Householder. So he's a master. So according to the definition of queen, it's either she's a wife and a woman and a female servant, which contradicts queen. So if a queen runs everything, how can she be a wife? And if she's the wife of a king, the king is the master. So even a king would tell her what to do. So wouldn't a queen in those terminologies still be under a man? But somehow the said Negroes, said netters, they authoritize the woman, they put on a pedestal, and they say they're the queens and gods of the earth. And none of these words line up with it. So either they're harlots, right? Or they're servants, which kind of goes to both. I'm just saying. Kind of goes to both, right? So we see the book of Amos 7:17, therefore thus saith the Lord, thy wife shall be a harlot in the city. So we see that, how is that happening? Well, they're calling themselves queens. So I ask, how is the queenship working out for the queens? The same queens that don't own their homes. Oh, sure, they may think they own their homes, but they pay taxes on these homes. And if you don't pay off these homes, you will not be able to maintain your house, whether you so-called buying or not. You don't own your car, right? You can claim you paid it off, but if you don't pay the insurance and you sit it in the backyard, guess what? They're going to take that too. So we see even your jobs you got. So it's kind of crazy how these queens can be female servants under Esau, the so-called white man. They can sure enough be queens over us, but they can still be servants or have to be servants under them. This man Sadnetta is a sick puppy. And what he does, he enjoys filling these women's head up, inflate them, exacerbating is another terminology, and setting their head up on high, right? Just so he can get in their pockets. This man is a pure hustler. And he's probably got complete control of his wife. I don't know what he does with her, but these guys that do this, like, remember Brother Polite, the black woman is God, the black woman is queen. I don't know how any so-called black woman trusts these people anymore. I don't get it. You know, I don't get how anybody trusts anything like that. In fact, that whole black conscience or that whole Egyptology, that's all homo related. They all flip to the other sides of the fence. I mean, did he talk about the Egyptians? The other brother brought that out. How they whack off in the Nile River to fertilize the water for the gods? They don't say anything about that. Or the Immaculate Conceptions that they get Christianity adopted as well out of Egypt, where the sperm hit Osiris' leg and Horus sprang up, or some madness. Yeah, that's what happens. This is what happens when you say the Queen of Heaven, you're saying the harlot of heaven. right? Anyway, that's why America, this place, is linked to the Queen of Heaven, the mother of harlots, right? So if you want to call yourself a queen, well, now we see the attitude of the black woman screaming for food stamps, losing their damn mind, the entitlement of men like this calling them queens. Jeremiah 44:15. Then all the men which knew that their wives had burned incense unto the other gods, and all the women that stood by the great multitude, even all of the people that dwelt in the land of Egypt, there we go, and Pathros, answered Jeremiah, saying, as for the word that thou hast spoken unto us, in the name of the Lord, we will not hearken unto thee. Right? That's what he said. This is why when you read what Paul said, when he said that the law became the knowledge of sin. This is an example, right? But we will certainly do whatever thing go forth out of our own mouth to burn incense unto the Queen of Heaven and to pour out drink offerings unto her, as we have done, we, our fathers, our kings, our princes, in the city of Judah and the streets of Jerusalem. For then had we plenty victuals, substance, and were well, saw no evil. So the Lord allowed these other gods some form of power to give them. It's kind of like sometimes years ago, I used to felt like when I prayed for some things, I got the total opposite, right? But that was building faith. Then you got kind of afraid to pray for certain things, right? But you know, these people, they probably prayed to the Lord. It didn't work. And they probably got all kind of benefits, you know, like the EBT. And then they say, well, the hell with the Lord. I'm going to Sunday school church, right? And saw no evil. But since we left to burn incense to the Queen of Heaven and poured our drink offerings unto her, we have wanted all things, and we have been consumed by the sword and by the famine. Let me go back and say, but since we have left off to burn incense to the Queen of Heaven and to pour out drink offerings unto her, we have wanted all things, right? And have been consumed by the sword and by the famine. And when we burned incense to the Queen of Heaven and poured out drink offerings unto her, did we make her cakes to worship her and pour out drink offerings unto her without our men, right? You know, and that's what you see Jake do with their women. They light the weed, blow that smoke up in the air and say the black woman is God, the black woman is queen. She's the queen of goddess of the earth, right? You know, she's got, you know, regular, her sweat is like perfume and lavender, you know, that kind of stuff. And then you see today, through the Queen of Heaven, men are taken by the same spirit. They wear the provocative clothes. Jake neck just breaks, turning around, looking at the woman, which nothing's wrong with looking at women. But Jake loses control. You ain't going to get it. You ain't going to mess with it. They just there for the attention, you know. And these Jakes, like said Netta, he's getting the money. He's getting a woman. I'm probably sure he's creeping off on the side. I think he got a wife, but hey, yeah, okay. That's that black conscious stuff. You know how that go. So anyway, that's pretty much it. This woman, she wants to be deemed the queen of the earth, the goddess of the earth. And she's got some cuckold Jake with a Grand Poobah hat on his head, you know, working all kinds of sick things going on. And it feeds her, you know, her ego, and she enjoys running over men. But then these women always have that right man that they creep off with on the side. I guarantee it. And it might be a Hebrew. No, we don't do that. You know, anyway, if you a Hebrew Israelite, we don't believe in that adultery, man. That's them, right? That's all I have on that show.